What starts here changes the world. I have a few suggestions that may help you on your way to a better world. And while these lessons were learned during my time in the military, I can assure you that it matters not whether you ever served a day in uniform. It matters not your gender, your ethnic or religious background, your orientation, or your social status. Our struggles in this world are similar, and the lessons to overcome those struggles and to move forward, changing ourselves and changing the world around us, will apply equally to all. So here are the 10 lessons I learned from basic SEAL training that hopefully will be of value to you as you move forward in life. Every morning in SEAL training, my instructors, who at the time were all Vietnam veterans, would show up in my barracks room, and the first thing they'd do was inspect my bed. If you did it right, the corners would be square, the covers would be pulled tight, the pillow centered just under the headboard, and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack. It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough, battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. During SEAL training, the students are all broken down into boat crews. Each crew is 7 students, 3 on each side of a small rubber boat, and 1 coxswain to help guide the dinghy. Every day, your boat crew forms up on the beach and is instructed to get through the surf zone and paddle several miles down the coast. In the winter, the surf off San Diego can get to be 8 to 10 feet high, and it is exceedingly difficult to paddle through the plunging surf unless everyone digs in. Every paddle must be synchronized to the stroke count of the coxswain. Everyone must exert equal effort, or the boat will turn against the wave and be unceremoniously dumped back on the beach. For the boat to make it to its destination, everyone must paddle. You can't change the world alone. You will need some help. And to truly get from your starting point to your destination takes friends, colleagues, the goodwill of strangers, and a strong coxswain to guide you. If you want to change the world, find someone to help you paddle. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys from every corner of the nation and the world always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Project Podcast. We're here today again with Nikki Moonitz for another podcast to talk about some of the things that are going on. We want to welcome. I mean, introduce yourself again, Tim.
Hi, I'm Nikki Moonitz. You guys have probably seen me ranting on X, and that's about it. I'm getting a feel for a different medium, so I'm here guesting and getting a feel for this.
Yeah, you're doing fine. And obviously we're here with my daughter, the host, and we're also going to talk a little bit about some stuff with. Well, I'll pull up a clip about clavicular. Is he's kind of going, I mean, viral for the wrong reasons lately, and just kind of look at what's going on. So let's take a look at that.
Well, if it's meant to be, you'll wait. Yeah. You trying to?
What do you mean by restore your body, though?
Like, I was a part of a lot of crazy stuff in the past few weeks, and so I'm like resetting my body.
What do you mean by that?
Resetting my body, like I made out with too many people.
And what else?
And what else? Well, I have fun. I like to. Do you like to?
How many people does that entail?
It depends on the energy.
No, like how many people are we talking about?
How many? No, it's nothing crazy.
What does nothing crazy mean?
Nothing crazy. It's all good. Nothing crazy. I have a secret life. It's like a secret life off camera.
So, I mean, I don't even know what to say, but that shows a state of there are a couple of things wrong with it, but I mean, for one, I don't agree with a lot of what the guy does. Don't get me wrong, but then this also highlights some of the things that we got from things like the sexual revolution, which ends up putting people to do this kind of nonsense. Like, I mean, even 30 years ago, this didn't happen in public. 40 years ago, no, right?
Yeah.
So, thoughts?
Is that the guy who overdosed on camera?
Yes. He's the looks.
First time I've ever seen him.
The looks maxer.
He's a guy that like breaks his face so he feels a certain way.
Yes, that's the guy. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just sad. Girls aren't taught what makes them so valuable. I mean, like there's nothing more precious than sharing your intimacy with someone, and these girls just they treat their bodies like they're receptacles. It's I don't know, sad. That's what the left has taught women and girls.
Actually, the left and the right have taught women to be whores because, I mean, conservatives are just as much whores as the liberals are. And the calendar issue really showed that on the left and the right, and women's desire to go out and like dress in bikinis on the beach, like with everything hanging out, and they think it's fine. It's like there's not, it's like the things that you do have a consequence and a cause and effect, and you're pushing yourself in a certain direction. And if you're going to value yourself as a woman and a human being, you should value yourself in every right. So you should be modest. Like, I mean, as a Christian, it's like you should be modest in your speech, in your dress, like the way you attire, the way you carry yourself, the way you present yourself with your interactions with other people. Sometimes we're human. I was just like cursing on the timeline the other day. Hey, we all make mistakes. We're humans. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit around and pretend like effing up and down the place is not wrong. People often, women in general, who just have the wrong ideology, they go around doing these things and act confused. It's like, you're a whore, that. Like, it's not just, I think we want to believe that conservatives are different, but their behavior is just the same. It's because they have the same feminist ideology, and they're not genuine Christians or traditional minded people whatsoever.
I think
I mean,
that,
it depends on the
go ahead.
person. But yeah. No, you go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of the things that we attribute to this, we're seeing, especially with the stuff that we saw with some of the conservative influencers and stuff like that, which we're seeing that there's a whole issue of what people choose to do. And yes, you might see it maybe far more prevalent the further you get that pushes that Marxist ideology. But this is a human problem that people need to fix because as far as I'm concerned, when I saw the Epstein list, I mean, I saw people on both sides in the Epstein list, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're involved with that, you're just not. I don't want to deal with you, right? Like, so while we might see it skewed one way a little bit more than the other, at the end of the day, it's people choosing to do wrong things, and we've been psyoped to a large degree. Go ahead.
Oh no, I wasn't about to say anything.
Yeah, we see that with people like it really is the Marxist ideology and the feminism and things like that. Because if you see people even like, okay, well, like Lauren Boebert, she was supposed to be doing her job. There's a lot of conservatives that were supposed to be doing the right thing and doing their job and just decided that they're gonna be D-bags and do something else. It's like it is. I agree with my dad. It's a completely human problem. Not everyone is like that. But it seems to be that the things that are pushed to the media, through the media and the public with influencers and everyone else who's supposed to be, leading us in a certain direction, they're all doing the same thing. They all sit at the same table. Like they all sit at the same table. They're the same level of scammers and liars and grifters even. I don't even really like that word, but scammers for real because they're selling something to people that is just not the case at all.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go back and touch on some of this stuff because a lot of this stuff is psyops and brainwashing, for lack of a better term. And you're seeing it filter down, and this is why they have influencers that are on drugs that are not like that shouldn't be in any of the spaces. Like we saw what happened with Elijah Schaefer crashing out and all that stuff, and Milo talking about what was going on, and you're seeing some things that should not. That if you're family oriented, you shouldn't have those types of things taking place. But we're going to look at what this guy's talking about, why a lot of this stuff is happening.
There's a formula to brainwashing, and I've taught this to many of my clients, and there's a 7-step process that if you wanted to brainwash yourself, you could take the exact same process, and you could take that exact process. And we can go through this if you want. One is target acquisition. So this is how the brain locks onto something. And your brain has a structure called the reticular activating system, which is part of the reticular formation.
Right.
And inside of this RAS its job is to filter reality, not really giving you full reality. It's just filtering it down to what it thinks is important to you. So you're exposed to millions and millions of bits of information every second. And so let's say it's an average of, 8 to 10 million bits of information per second. Your brain holds on to 40. Your brain makes you aware of 40 of those bits. So it deletes almost everything else. So what does it keep? It keeps what it's been trained to look for. That's why when you go out and buy a new car, you suddenly start seeing that thing everywhere.
Right.
The cars didn't multiply, and it's not like everyone went out and copied you and went out and got the same car. Your brain says, okay, Chase thinks this pickup truck is important. I'm going to show him everybody else that has this pickup truck everywhere. So it's your brain changing a filter. So when people say, I want a better year,
right,
the reticular activating system completely ignores it.
This is why failed resolutions everywhere. You're starting in the wrong spot of the brain.
Right, and there's nothing that it can really lock onto. So, but when you define a precise arrival condition, that word exactly.
So, the part of the brain that this guy's talking about, this is why it appears that people more on the left are more deranged because they use certain emotional appeals that bypass the frontal lobes of your brain. And they use a lot of, like what people would say, suicidal empathy. So they use that, and it's predominantly more so on the left because they have a higher prevalence of women that are supporting that, which are more emotional, and they sway them this way. And they're using these types of techniques. Like this guy, you know who this guy is, right? Chase Hughes? He's ex-CIA. Chase Hughes. This guy's like ex-CIA neurologist. He like his job was psyops. This is what this guy did for a living. And so he goes and he tells people how to manipulate people because this is what they did.
Yeah, it reminds me of Jordan Peterson in Maps of Meaning. He talks about how where our eyes look is where we move towards, and that's directing our brain, and our brain directs our eyes. So what he's talking about, it reminds me of when I was raising my kids, and I read a lot of books on how to raise kids. And one of the things they said was, don't say vague things to kids like be good or don't be mean or things like that, because they don't know what you're talking about. You're not being precise enough. You have to be specific in what they should do or shouldn't do. And it's the same thing when you're guiding your own, path. You need to be specific. You can't be vague. And the left thrives on vague with emotion. So they latch on to the emotional baggage of words, but they get rid of the definitions. So like they don't even know what fascism means anymore, but they know it makes their tummy hurt and it's bad. And so everyone that makes their tummy hurt is bad and is a fascist. Same with racism, they don't define their terms. And so that's the first thing you always need to do when you try to debate them is say, define your terms. What are you saying? And 99.9% of them can't. All they know is how they feel. That's it. And so it's the same, and that's what makes them easy to brainwash, because they're not being precise in their thoughts, and they're not being precise in what's bad and what's good. I mean, these people think that saying, like, hurting someone's feelings is worse than killing someone. That's how insane it's gotten, because they think words are violence and violence is speech. So
this is with the social emotional learning that they're teaching in school, which is reinforcing this, because everything that feels bad is bad. If it feels good, then it must be right. So if somebody tells you the truth and it feels bad, this is why people crash out, because they're wired. This is what when you send your kids to school, they're poisoning your children's mind to think this way.
But it goes both ways, because also if you feel bad because there's a boy in your girl's bathroom, it's not bad. You're bad for thinking that. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. It's just all according to their narrative. So,
I mean,
and then what they're, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, finish.
I already, it's all right. My brain goes so fast that I jump track real fast. So,
I mean, if we're being honest and we're being fair, the generation before us actually raised this generation of weak cowards. So it's like, because the generation before us was all strung on crack and meth and everything else, it's like that's actually why their kids are the way that they are, because they left their kids to be raised by the system instead of actually being mothers and fathers to their kids. And so it's like, it's all fair and well to blame the generation that it is now, but it's like the previous administrations of government and the previous parents of that generation raised this weak, lame, and cowardice level of society. And it's fun to just, I think the previous generation is far more weak and cowardice than ours, because they can't even acknowledge the fact of their own failure and what they did to this generation. Like, this is the worst generation historically, and they say that every generation actually usually gets more intelligent and more capable than the previous, but this is the first generation with so much more education but so little capability and so little ability to actually practically apply the things that they've learned. So it's like the structures that were built by the previous generations, this is their fault. Even the trans agenda, it's like, this is a feminism coming long time from first wave, because they had androgyny right in the foundations, right in the women's Bible. Elizabeth Cady Stanton talked about it. Amelia Bloomer with the bloomer pants is the one who actually instituted androgyny. She wanted it. And so it's like, we had RuPaul. RuPaul was from the previous generations who made the shows to introduce like the drag race and all that stuff. It's like, there were things in place to slowly move the needle this way, and it's like blasted in the Gen Z generation. And I think everyone only looks at the outcome instead of how it happened to really target how to fix it. Because at the end of the day, the people who created that generation are still weak cowards walking around society, and that's not going to change. So the
Well, to be
problem's still going to
clear,
continue because the parents
I didn't.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying like, I'm just saying the people, like most of the kids that come out this way, it's because they have demented parents who put them in that situation to come out that way. You see what I'm saying? Like it's a
Yeah,
form of
but
abuse,
I want to
even like,
make
and even
clear.
psychology talks about that.
Go ahead.
I just want to make clear. I didn't say the Generation Z was responsible. I think the people who have been in charge of the education system, which that goes back further, that you've got to go back like a few generations for that. I never mentioned
That's what I'm
this
saying.
generation as being responsible for it. This generation has been molded by true believers. I think what really happened, aside from the fact that we let the left run the educational system for so long, is that the Democrat Party has been using panic and demonization to win elections for my entire life, but it just got magnified with social media and with the internet. And what they've done is they've created like a bunch of true believers that they can't even control now. The old school, like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and stuff, they don't really believe all this stuff. But now they're having to kind of cater to the younger crazies out there because they're true believers in what they've been taught their whole life. But I never said it was Gen Z.
I was just having a conversation with somebody about this, about people who do things that don't necessarily believe what they're saying, but there's a lot of people who are not the brightest and that are easily manipulable. And then when they hear those things, they believe them and take them as if they're true. And then there's a consequence that goes along with this. I just want to say quickly before we go into another clip, because I want to play, because he talks about how the PSYOP works and the brainwashing, which is relevant to what we're doing, because a lot of this was done with manipulation and brainwashing that were done to slowly move the needle, that a lot of people didn't see what was coming until it all hit people like a train. And that's why we're seeing what we're doing. But let's listen to what he has to say here.
Step 2 is threat modeling. Fear is not the enemy here. And this part can make some people uncomfortable, but neuroscience is crystal clear on this. This has been reviewed for hundreds of years. The brain is not optimized for happiness. No neuroscientist will ever tell you that. It's optimized primarily for threat avoidance. If you go back to our ancestors, they were way more likely to mistake a rock for a bear than the other way around, right? So threat avoidance is number one. Humans don't move toward pleasure, is what this is telling us. We're way more likely to move away from threat. So what we're going to do to the human brain is to weaponize. So the protocol here for step 2 is to write 2 futures out and make them vivid. Use imagery, go to Google Images or Pinterest or whatever. Build two different futures, not just one. So future A is the desired outcome. This is vivid, sensory, precise, and very calm confidence, all the stuff that you're arriving at this place. Future number 2 is the failure trajectory there. So this is if nothing happens, nothing changes, same habits, same beliefs, same excuses. This one has to be very uncomfortable. So loss aversion is stronger than reward anticipation in the brain. And we know this from decades of research.
Oh, yes.
Your amygdala, this emotional part of our brain, it's a threat detection center, activates like 10 times faster and 10 times stronger than all the reward circuits. So when people only visualize success, they're missing half of the equation. So consequences are very important. So the brain needs that contrast. You need to show it.
This guy is explaining why they use fear as a motivator, right? Because the response that it gets, you get an emotional response, and he says 10 times greater than your reward system. This is, and then they have a binary system. It's either this or that, and they make one extremely terrible. And you're all of these things if you do this thing. So your only path forward is to do the other thing, the carrot that I'm dangling in front of you.
Yeah.
The only other thing that motivates you to a stronger degree than that is genuine love. but it's harder to convince people that in the immediate you can't. It takes too much time. So fear is the only real motivator that they can use in that situation.
Yeah, and that's why the left is so down on the family, because you'll do anything for your family, and
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then you won't do anything for the government.
Yes. This is why the government unlawfully will take people's kids, because they know that a parent will do anything to protect their kid from harm. But if that parent has their kids, they will do whatever they can to make sure that nothing is going to harm them. But in order to get them to stop what they're doing, they take their kids. That
Yep.
this
That's
is
why they radicalize the kids,
yes.
which they're doing now. Which right now I'm taking a course through Peterson Academy, Michael Malice, on the rise and fall of the Soviet Union. He's talking about how, and we knew, I mean, Mao radicalized the kids. Hitler had Hitler's youth. I mean, they all do it, and the left's doing it now, pitting the kids against their parents.
Yes. This should not be done. This is where we're seeing, like, and this is where, when you get to the extreme left and the extreme right, they look ideologically the same. And if you go back and you start looking at the money, when you see all these people that are supposedly conservative that are gone off a cliff, at the end of the day, they're the other side of the Marxist coin, right? And this is what we have to understand. Like, if you are using emotional manipulation and not reason to persuade your arguments, you're probably doing it wrong. If you're talking, it's different if you're talking to a 2-year-old kid who doesn't really understand that well, and so forth. But I'm saying, when you're talking to an adult, if you have to present emotional arguments without common sense, you're probably doing something big.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mute those people.
Yes. I'm gonna pull up this next clip from this other guy, and then we're gonna pull another one later. But yeah, this is interesting stuff.
Where you're going if you don't. And here's the thing that most people, I don't think, articulate. Doing nothing is still choosing the future.
Mm-hmm.
And once you visually model that future emotionally, not just abstract, emotionally, something flips. Staying the same begins to feel unsafe. And that's the point that everyone needs to get to. So with step 2, we're engineering this identity thing. Your brain is going to violate logic before it violates identity.
Okay.
So think about this. We're not gonna say, like, oh well, I'm stupid and here's all these logic things that make total sense. We will call logic stupid and then rewire the identity around it. This is called cognitive dissonance. It's well researched. So if behavior conflicts with identity, behavior changes, not identity. This is why people sabotage goals that don't match who they believe they are. So instead of asking, how do I force myself to do this? We ask, what kind of person would never even question this behavior? Identity lives in predictive processing. So your brain's model of who I am and how I operate is what that is. So once that model updates, habits stop requiring a whole lot of effort. So that's why willpower feels exhausting as hell.
Yes.
It's fighting the model instead of rewriting it. So when identity shifts, behavior feels obvious. So
You see that identity? This is when they're using that whole gender identity. This is what he's talking. These are things that what he's talking about. So when they start taking your kids in school and putting this gender ideology on, by the time they start expressing this, they have been brainwashed to a large degree, and reality will not apply to them, and they're easily manipulable when they're kids, and then they send them out. This is why they melt down in the real world, because of what he's talking about.
Yeah, but reality is not going to match their mental model, because no matter how much their identity in their brain is being switched, because their mental model is switching, they're not going to be able to keep up with the reality. He said that tasks end up, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, end up not really feeling like, you're doing like that. It's not really, you need the willpower. It becomes your pretty much standard operating procedure. But because, like, a woman is not a man and a man is not a woman, it doesn't matter how much you shift your mental model, eventually you will become exhausted by your inability to actually carry out, in a practical sense, the thing that you are trying to be. It's completely against your natural biology on a mental, physical, and emotional level. And eventually you'll get worn down. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, what he's saying only goes to a certain extent, because you literally cannot perform after, like, beyond a certain point, like in the opposite
Well,
realm of like what they're trying to do identity wise.
and then that's when you get those kids shooting up a school or killing their parents, because these kids don't even have, at least when we were growing up, you could kind of count on the medical, whatever the you know, go-to sites were, to be honest. But now you've got the medical industry and the scientific industry all saying, yeah, boys can become girls and girls become boys. These kids don't actually have anywhere to go for like objective truth where they can be like, oh yeah, no, they're wrong. They're going to these sources and they're like, oh yeah, they're right. You can be a girl. You are a girl, you know? And so these kids just snap, which is why we're seeing, I mean, trans violence, I mean, trans in quotes, because they're just confused people, but they have the proportion of violent attacks and killings by them in the last few years is just insane.
Well,
They've been psychologically abused their whole lives.
this you're right. This is being predicted. Like what Kaysha said is true, and the people who did this, they understand this. They understand that, but when they bring that programming in at such a young age and reinforce it, by the time they're 18, it's their life is so confusing because it's hard to break free from what they've been indoctrinated with as a child, but it's still conflicting with the reality that they're living with. They're getting worn out, but they don't know what to do. And then they've taken away their ability to actually deal with and solve problems, so they go ballistic. And this was a foreseeable outcome. Like the people who did this, they knew what they were doing. Yes.
Yeah, because they tell the kids, anyone who doesn't affirm what you think wants you dead. I mean, they're blatant in it. It's like a cult. It literally is. I mean, in the 70s, remember how cults were a big thing, but at least that wasn't mainstream. Like people could escape from the cults and get deprogrammed. But now the cultists are running the institutions. So, I mean, it's obvious that this is what they wanted to happen.
Oh, for sure. And unfortunately, sorry, we live in, because of the degradation of like society in a very feminist sense as well, it's promoted because, especially if you have the way that men have access to women today now in ways that they have never had before, like complete unfettered access to women and entitlement beyond belief and beyond almost repair, it is agitating things on an entirely different level. Like the things that men are doing, like how they have promoted things, is to make men more aggressive mentally, emotionally, and physically towards women, and women to be aggressive to men in ways that are agitating towards men. Because like even for myself, obviously like we're all normal minded people here and Christians, but when I go outside in everyday interactions, the way that men try to bend me over and coerce me mentally and emotionally to believe what they want me to believe, and they feel entitled for you to give them respect and entitled for you to take their opinion and position, and that you must follow their way of going about things, especially if you're by yourself. Men operate this on just like a natural level, but because feminism, the way that it's gone, has separated women from a high degree of protection and the ability to have that safe space where men do not feel that natural entitlement to any random woman on the street. That's also pushing the insanity of a lot of these young girls, because it's it's putting too much access in spaces where, like you said, those women should have that ability of autonomy to be like, no, my body and my mind and my emotions, that's for me. There's some safety and sanity that should, like, some protection around that. It shouldn't be open to everyone else. But by the time they get to the age of 18, the men and women are so violated. the confusion that they're operating under each other is so bad that they're promoting the violence and chaos to each other naturally. Does it make sense, like what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't experience it because I'm ancient compared to you. But they've been dividing first women against men my whole life. I remember hearing all the man hating songs in the 70s, and I never got it. Even then, I didn't like it. And so now men don't know how to act to women because women don't know how to act to men. And they've made something that's already difficult, which is navigating, courting, and they've just made it a complete minefield for both, for women, because we're supposed to just accept, men who say they're women, men who invade our spaces, stuff like that. And for men, because women can hook up with a guy and then the next morning say, you know what, I regret that. You sexually abused me, blah, blah, blah. So I can't even imagine. I do not envy your generation. I can't even imagine being out there trying to navigate that minefield right now. I really can't.
No, it's absolutely insane. Yeah, actually, we're gonna have to talk about this on our next podcast. You mentioned something about the cult-like thinking, and we really should dig in depth to that because they're using cult-like tactics all over the place, especially with our kids. And this is where it's like needs to be a hands-off approach. I'm gonna just play a short commercial. We'll be back and we'll start talking about the PSYOP stuff because it's one thing to PSYOP adults, it's another thing to PSYOP children, which it has far more catastrophic effects. And kids can't reason their way out of it the way that an adult may be able to deal with it. Say, okay, this is wrong, so we need to stop it. So I'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
Hello friends, my name is Kaysha and I'm a proud member of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. And I'm also a survivor of human trafficking. My trafficking began in Saskatchewan, moved into Alberta, and even crossed into the United States. I was stalked, hunted, and ignored by the very systems over the last 5 years that were meant to protect me. This is why, with my father Dale Richardson, we started the Karis Project. This is an Indigenous, survivor-led movement for humanity dedicated to exposing trafficking, government corruption, and holding institutions accountable. One of the most powerful tools that we are using is the petitions for redress of grievances. These are lawful constitutional actions rooted in Canadian and US law, and in treaties that tie us together across provinces, across states, and even across borders. These petitions are precedent-setting. They create a binding record. They demand accountability while representing reconciliation in action. Indigenous and non-Indigenous people working side by side to preserve liberty for all. But we cannot do this alone. We need your help to keep this movement alive, to raise awareness and to build a legacy of justice for Indigenous women, for trafficking survivors, and for families everywhere. Thank you. Please stand with us. Your support makes this work possible. Together we can restore justice, heal families, and defend freedom. And I will close with my favorite quote. The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who cannot be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole. And men who will stand for the right, though the heavens may fall. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. That's better now. If anybody wants to support the work we're doing, you can go to the Give Then go to the donor box, or you can go to mypillow.com/Karis or call 1-800-452-942 and use the promo code Karis and buy some good pillows and for a good cause. Or if you're watching on Rumble, Facebook, Vocal, or YouTube, you'll see links in the description for all kinds of products that we have we have merchandise and so forth. Support a good cause because we're out trying to help people regain their constitutional rights and protect themselves from an unjust government, especially their children. All right, so back again. We're gonna play the next clip here about the PSYOP that he's talking about. This is what is being done to our children in schools, and this is being done everywhere in the media.
Behavior feels obvious. So there's a protocol here that you can do. And you could do this daily. And I would recommend it daily if you really want to do brainwashing on yourself. You have to define 3 beliefs that that person holds, 3 daily behaviors that that kind of person defaults to, and then 3 standards they do not negotiate. They're not aspirations that you're setting down. You're writing the rules, like the lifestyle rules of this new identity, and on a recurring basis. So that's rule 3. All right. So next is environmental sabotage. And as a subtitle for this, you could write down context always beats discipline. So here's a super overlooked fact that is out there. If most of your behaviors is context dependent, it's not value dependent. So it's same person, different environment, you get a different behavior. So your basal ganglia run all of these scripts that are tied to location and time and posture and cues. That's why changing your environment works even when motivation doesn't work. That's why when you walk through a doorway, like when I walk into my office to grab something and I forget, and the moment I reach that little boundary from one room to the next, like you're like, oh shit, what did I come in here to do? What was I supposed to get?
If you look at what this guy is saying and start, like I tell everybody who's watch what he says and watch where they're doing this in your life. Like where you're seeing this in the world around you. And you're going to start realizing, looking at it. Like, because this guy says that nobody can resist it. He's like, I'm not immune to this kind of stuff. So everybody gets to resist, affected to it to a certain degree. But some people will be able to think their way out and say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And that's why they go after certain people. Go ahead.
Oh no, you were breaking up a little, so I was trying to.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I thought leaning towards the computer would make me hear you better, but.
No, it's all good. But I'm saying what he's doing here, it's happening all around us. Like, I mean, if you look at how they're promoting things, they're doing this stuff all the time. And I said people should go back and pay attention to what this guy is talking about, where it's happening in your life, because he said not even he's immune to it, and he goes out and does this to people.
Yeah. I mean, definitely inserting yourself in certain environments will lead to the same negative actions. Don't go there. I mean, that's what I had to do when I had to leave my entire world behind once I got pregnant. I was like, I literally moved across the country because I didn't know how to even function not in that world. And they call it pulling a geographical, but you have to do that in your day-to-day life too. We don't go to restaurants where we're going to have to choose junk to eat. I don't buy junk because I don't want to eat it. I don't want it here, and I know if there are certain things that if I buy it just because it's here, I'm going to eat it. And I'm super disciplined with my eating, but part of that's because I have my environment completely set up to how I want to eat. And I don't go places where I'm going to be, presented with that other stuff. So yeah, you have to be very conscious about what you want to do, where you want to go. And it's so aggravating. I think for the most part, girls are more prone to this than guys, because you'll hear girls, the girls who just wind up with loser after loser after loser, and they act like they had nothing to do with it. And it's like, once, okay, yeah, bad luck. Twice, maybe better start, looking inward. 3 times, somewhere deep down, you're asking for this. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. You can fix this. You aren't looking. You aren't trying.
They psy up women into believing things that they can't do, and that there's nothing wrong with them, and there's no accountability, and placing them in situations where they're going to fail. And they say, "Oh, you're going to do just great." That's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah, but I still like I gotta disagree with that because um women don't have the same agency as men. And although you make a decision to enter a relationship with someone, and yeah, you're accountable for your own actions for accepting the relationship, no one's taking that away from the situation. Like a woman says yes, she says yes, and regret is not rape. Like I'm not saying none of that. I'm saying that when a woman has no men in her life and a good man comes along, that's just by the good grace of God, or like Ecclesiastes says, vanity of vanities, all is vanity, chance happens to us all. And women don't realize that when a good man comes along and actually decides to be with them, it has nothing to do with the fact that they won the chess match. Quite frankly, it's just the fact that the man decided of his own good graces that I'm going to be a good man with integrity. And women seem to think because of feminism that their own intellect and their own capability outwitted the man's ability as a man to strategize. If that man wanted to screw her over, even if she's a good woman and he's a good man, if he decided one day I want to screw her over, he's going to get the ability to do it because he's a man at the end of the day. And that's more, I think, the position where people are like, okay, well, more often than not, if a woman doesn't have a good man around her, it's not that good men don't want to be with, it's not that she doesn't have the opportunity to be with good men. It's the fact that there's no man there to hold that man accountable when that man tries to do bad things to her that she doesn't see or doesn't understand before it happens. Like the steps that are like going a certain way, you know what I mean? Like my dad cuts things off at the pass with people, and I don't even get to the stages that these women get to because he sees what those guys are doing before it happens.
I guess. I don't know. I think maybe from my runaway days, my filter, I have a really good radar. I can tell the minute I meet a guy if he's a loser or not. And so far it's been pretty, but my survival depended on it when I was out there, so that might
But
be why.
but you also
You
you
know,
had guys that were around you that looked out for you and helped you out. That were because when you have somebody who's being like abused in that kind of way and they can't tell anything whatsoever, it's very different. Because when I talk to you and I understand what you're talking about, but I've seen people that just had every person that they ever came in contact with was abuse all the time,
Yeah,
and
and
they
then they choose, and then they're like they start to associate that with love on a subliminal level because they don't know what healthy love is supposed to be like, and so then that's why girls with abusive dads wind up with abusive men
yes,
because their their formation it was on rocky ground and it just went wrong. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the girls who just always wind up with like I don't understand how a girl doesn't know if the guy's cheating. I could tell. And I know a lot of girls who will pretend not to notice and they stay with the guy and then wind up with another cheater the next guy. And I don't know. I don't get it.
honestly,
But
most people these days, I don't know, I don't agree with it either. I don't agree. Most people these days are cheaters, men and women. But like I'm not talking about like most people are dirty dogs today, and that's just the facts, unfortunately. They're actually saying that more than I saw a statistic the other day that said more than 70% of women have a backup man that they're just waiting, like that they're actively engaged in a backup man. Like this, like our society is completely degenerate and crazy. But I'm not talking about women's radar to know that a man is a POS. Like as soon as like I start talking to a man, I know genuine men in my life, like my father and another man that I'm very close to. I love him very much. Because he is so genuine to me and the way that he interacts with me, the way that he is and the way he operates. When I come across other men, as soon as they start saying a certain thing or acting a certain way, I'm like, I know you're disgusting and you're a dirty dog. Like, I know that you're just, or an evil person or whatever, because the way that they operate is so predatory in comparison to the peace that the good men around me operate from, like the peace and genuineness that good men around me operate from. So I understand, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that your ability to mitigate danger as a woman against a man is just straight up impossible. Like without men around you, like you are gonna get, yeah, you're gonna get cooked. So like those women in those situations, for example, like the young kids in the school who grow up and they're just being flamed by like the Marxism and blah blah blah, and your boundaries are being violated from every which way. Say maybe you also have like an abusive father, like you talked about. Maybe your mother has like the Munchausen syndrome and she's trying to like make you the opposite gender for attention. You're cooked on every level. Then you're trying to get relationships with good guys. You have no clue, and the guy comes around pretending to be nice. Maybe he's giving you all these gifts and buying you stuff. You think he's genuine. Next thing you know, he's beating the hell out of you, and now how are you going to get out of it? Because you have no support system, no men. Those situations is what I'm more talking about, because it's not your ability. A woman might get uncomfortable about certain things and she might have her intuition, but your ability to mitigate and bring consequences to the men in those situations or prevent it from happening is just not there without men. That's what I'm saying.
Or without the Second Amendment put into practice.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is that they've destroyed men and made them emotional. Emotional men will make the women feel good, and emotional men we're going to naturally, like, I'm talking, not saying that men don't have emotion. I'm saying men that cannot control their emotion, which is very different. Which a man who cannot control himself is a dangerous man, and they're pumping out predators, which will then feed off of the women that are already entitled, and then they just will create it's like a perfect storm of destruction, and they're going to just feed off each other's chaos and make things worse, and everybody else in the middle who's normal is going to get mowed down in the crossfire. Like, the people who set this up, they knew what they were doing. I just want to You wanted to say something?
No, I was just agreeing. This has been a long game. This has been decades in the making.
Yes, and I wanted to put this final clip, a part of it, because it's a clip from a movie, but it talks about, literally explains the PSYOP of feminism and how it's then created the war in the home and this whole sort of dynamic. So I'll just play it out. We'll watch it.
You two having an affair?
I think I better go.
Yeah, you better. And don't come back to this house.
I'll see you at the office, ma'am.
Okay.
Thanks for being so nice.
Bye.
You fire her, and I mean it.
You don't come in this house and give me any damn ultimatums.
What is going on? You answer me!
Keep your voice down. Our daughter is in this room sleeping.
Don't you let that whore back in this house again.
No, I'm warning you. That whore has tutored your daughter, went to her recital, picked her up when you left her sitting on the school steps twice.
Okay, and what has she done for my husband, I wonder? I have to work, Terry.
This is not about your damn job.
It's not that. Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
What the hell are you talking about all of a sudden? This is not all of a sudden. It's been, I don't even know how long it's been that I've been begging you. I have been begging you to spend some time with me, begging you for months.
And I have.
What kind of man has to make an appointment to sleep with his wife?
Obviously one who has too much time on his hands. Oh, what do you want me to do?
I want you to do what I want you to do. How about the obvious? How about baking a cake for my birthday or spending some time with me or your daughter, okay? How about doing what a wife does, screwing me on a regular? Can you handle that?
You know what, I'm all for solutions, but maybe we could come up with something that doesn't involve me stepping back into the 50s.
You're so selfish.
I am not selfish.
What the hell are you talking about? You're not selfish. Diane, you laid there and had your tubes tied and you didn't even tell me? You don't think that's selfish?
Look, this is my body, okay? You don't have to carry a child. I do. You don't have to miss work. I do.
Diane, when you get married, you give up the eyes for us, okay? You don't make those kind of decisions without talking to me.
At the same time, financial pressure.
What the hell am I doing? I don't even know why I'm having this argument with you. I'm tired of arguing about the same damn thing with you. It's clear to me. One thing, very clear. You don't want to be married.
I'll tell you what this is about. My entire career is going way better than yours. And you're having some testosterone issues.
Yikes. I can't hear you guys at all.
Oh, I forgot to unmute. No, I mean, but that sums up a lot of what feminism does into a marriage. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you should have played
Go
the
ahead.
second half of the clip where it actually shows that the woman, after engaging in her work, like prioritizing her work, she ends up sleeping with her boss.
I was gonna do that.
Oh, okay, yeah, play the clip. Actually, run the second half of the clip, like, because this actually outlines the steps of, like, he was. Anyways, play the clip now.
And you can't deal with it. Have you lost your mind?
No. But I'm about to lose my wife. I'm moving out. Have you slept with her?
Slept with who? What? What are you talking about?
63 days ago, honey, you came home and you were different. You were happier than I've ever seen you. From that day to this one, you started taking a whole lot of care with the clothes you wear. Your makeup in the morning takes a little longer. Your perfumes are different. The panties you wear. From that day to this one, you just get happier and happier.
Honey, it's you that makes me...
Don't make me think I'm crazy when I know. I know, tell me. Diane, honey, I love your heartbeat. I know. I'm in tune with you. You can't be this arrogant to think that I wasn't paying attention. Is his name Philip? I'm trying to fix this, okay? I'm trying to save us. I'm trying to fix this, but you keep lying to me. Just gonna piss me off and we won't be able to fix this, Diane. Just tell me the truth. Philip?
I haven't done anything, I promise. He's funny, he makes me laugh, and he's an attorney. He works at another firm. Do you really want to hear this? Well, we worked on a case together, and then he invited me to dinner.
February 17th. You must have sat really close to him that night because I can smell him when you walked in the door.
We did not do anything. After the dinner, I spoke to him on the phone. I talked to him through email. It was harmless.
What happened on March the 8th?
What do you mean?
That night you came in this house and you made love to me like I was the only person in the world. Were you with him that night?
I saw him that day, yes. Jerry, I love you. I love you.
So, when we were having sex, you were thinking about him.
Some enter a reassessment phase, yet everyone reaches a shared.
If you thought about it, then you should.
Oh, Jerry, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, I won't ever see him again. I'll never speak to him. It's not worth this to me. You have to know that I love you, baby. Jerry!
And each character moves.
And it's tragic because this stuff be happening in real life all the time. All the time. Like, all the time. This is not even a far stretch. Someone told me on my stream the other day that this is actually a genre of porn where women sleep with their boss. I had no idea. I'm like, well, that's actually crazy that you know that, but I learned something new against my will once again. But it's like, yeah, it's stuff like this whole agenda of what they're pushing to women. Like, he talked about how his assistant at his job, he's a doctor, he runs his own clinic, she's a lawyer working for another man, and his assistant is the one taking care of their daughter because she's out at work and forgetting about her own daughter and neglecting her own family, which happens. I was working in hospitals and stuff like that, and the doctors, the nurses, the dietitians, all the women were constantly talking like this. I can't stand my husband. By the time I get home, I want nothing to do with them. How dare they want to touch me? I've been servicing people all day. I'm just pissed off. I hate them, blah blah blah. It's like she would have been so much happier. Look how pleasant his secretary was, who was taking care of him and the child, and she wasn't married to him. She was just a secretary. That lady would have been so much happier if she worked as a secretary in his office for him as the doctor, and they would have had a much more unified kind of thing. And when she ever needed to take care of the kids, he would let her go and do that. But it's like, then she went and did this, and then she's sleeping with her boss.
I mean, one of the things about feminism and the left is, their complete denial of human nature. And so I get it. I was a mom with, 3 kids running around. I know you're tired at the end of the day, but you know what? That is totally irrelevant to, do you want a strong marriage? Then you need to nurture it. And you don't need to, if your husband is begging, you're already losing, because he should always feel wanted. He shouldn't have to ask twice, and I know it's a bummer if you're tired and you've been working all day, but that's their love language. And if you want your marriage to work, that's just something. And don't make it like a chore. Don't even think of it like a chore. Think of it like watering a garden. You're nurturing something that you want to grow and live for the rest of your life. So
Right.
she's, I mean, in the first 1 minute of that video, I thought he was the jerk. And then for the rest, I'm like, no, she's the jerk.
Well, yes, and you can sit down and begin to see how her value system has been skewed by the things that she says. She says that, like, she's like prioritizing her work over her child. But
Without going
he
back to the
says that when you
50s.
have a family, there's no more I. And then the thing is that especially when a child is young, the mother is more important. And anybody who says otherwise, they're lying. They're just lying,
Yeah.
right? Because the child is a natural connection to the mother and all that stuff. They're wired for this. So she's thinking that he's jealous over her job, where she's
or her job.
completely. But I hear women saying this all the time. Man don't care what you're doing for work. He doesn't. If he's having children, he's like, can you take care of my children? Because I don't want to put my child somewhere where somebody's going to do something wrong. So the natural thing is like, well, my wife can do this. I can go out and do the work, because the way that she's talking and saying, oh, I got to do this, and that, men just, I do this. So what? Like, it just needs to be done. And they don't care. Like, men don't talk the same way, like, about when it comes to their work. They don't. Because it's just, that's just what you have to do. And that's how your family stays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that she was like, oh, well, there should be something without me having to go back to the 50s. It's like she doesn't want to give his needs whatsoever. It's all about her. And that's why he said you're selfish, because everything she was outlining was me, me, me. And it was screw him, screw our daughter. My job has to come first. She tied her tubes without even telling him about it. It's like, she's like, I have to
Yeah.
carry this. He's like, it's like, what the actual hell? I saw that movie as a kid, and I had no conception of understanding of what that conversation really was when I heard it. And then later when she cheated on him, I had no idea. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh. But when it's all lined out that way, it's like, it makes so much more sense now as to why she ended up doing that, because she was never prioritizing her family to begin with. And this is how, like, a lot of people get in these problems. They want to do whatever they want, but not accept the consequences that come with, like you said, there's human nature and there's consequences to human nature. And it's like being an adult and doing whatever you want. You can be an adult and do whatever you want, but it doesn't absolve you of the cause and effect or the consequences of your choices.
Yeah. And if you don't, I mean, I think good men are very easy to keep happy. All you do is be happy to be around them, be happy to be with them, feed them, play with them, and don't be like, make them someone they want to come home to. It's that easy. I think women are way harder to please because we don't know what we want half the time. Men can't figure it out. But men are pretty simple. I mean, I always say men are like dogs and women are like cats, because dogs are pretty easy to keep very happy. And of course there's some guys who just are going to cheat no matter what. But I think for the most part, cheating comes from them feeling like they're invisible. Like everyone likes that feeling when you're first discovering each other and you can't wait to learn more about them, and then they let that die, and that's when people want that feeling again. And so if you don't let that die, if you keep discovering each other and just always court, always remember that there's someone else who wouldn't mind being in your place, and don't demean yourself, have self-respect, but don't take them for granted either. It's I don't know. I think the older you get, it's easier too, because younger guys are just raging hormones, and when they get older, that kind of settles down, and they're way more concerned with liking the girl for the other 23 hours and 55 minutes of the day. So
Yeah, but there's also the like with men, when they what they want from their women isn't what they deal with in the rest of the day. When they're outside the world, everything is war, regardless of it. Men dealing with other men, it's all war and all that kind of stuff. They don't want that when they just want simple, relaxed, spend time with the woman, do stuff, and then you're like, I'll go out and do that war, so you don't have to, because I don't want you to. I'll do it. Just look after me when I'm back, so I can lick my wounds.
You be my sanctuary.
Yes,
yeah.
That's
you
what
be
they
my
want.
Sanctuary. Yeah, yeah, and that's what the 50, like the homemaking. That's what that was about. But then they made it out like it was a chore and a job, and I bet in a lot of marriages it was, because a lot of the men in the 50s were shell-shocked from World War II. They were emotionally unavailable. They became alcoholics. So I bet it sucked for a lot of women. But that doesn't mean the goal wasn't right. The goal to create a happy home and a happy family, for a happy home for your kids to grow up in, and for your husband to come home to, so that he has somewhere, a safe place where he can just brush everything off before he goes to battle the next day. And that society fares better when we can do that. But, as soon as you start thinking about how it puts you out to have to do this stuff, then you lose sight of why it's worth it. And then everything crumbles.
Honestly, I feel like the people who feel that way and like feel like everything is a chore, like with the man they're with, I don't think they actually respect or love them, because I feel like if you're with a man that you love and respect, you're like a puppy yourself. You're just happy to be there. You're happy you got adopted and get to go to a safe place where you feel like you belong, and that person becomes your space of belonging. And I think what people are chasing in this life more than anything, they think they're chasing all these other things, but they're trying to acquire all these other material goods and all these other fast life experiences or sleeping around or whatever, because they want to find a place to belong safely. And when you actually have that, I think you have so much gratitude and love and respect and admiration for the person, that even though you're tired, you're like, you know what? I'm just happy to be here. So I'm going to give you what you need, because it's going to make me happy to fill your needs, just like it makes you happy to fill mine. Even though we're tired and we're drained sometimes, it's like we're a team in this. We're not like burdened by doing what each other needs. I think that those women who are like that, they genuinely went with men that it's like, he grew on me, or he's a simp or a cuck, and like she went with him because maybe he had money, or he had a status or position she wanted, or like it just made sense because he was attractive or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they're not actually mated and matched, and they're not each other's safe space or their space of belonging. And I don't think it will ever work if that's not actually your true, like, captivated mind and heart, like, connection. Like,
and you also have to strategize and make things work, because you really are tired at the end of the day. So maybe this is going to become like a Dr. Ruth show here, but plan for some mornings. Plan a little play date for your kids with some friends, and have a morning where you guys have, brown chicken, brown cow, go get some breakfast or whatever. You can strategize to make sure, because it does suck that you have to schedule stuff. But once you have a few kids, that's you're kind of stuck. But you can make it to where you both want to, and make it something that you still want to make sure gets done. And so that's that whole environmental thing again. Don't just always say, well, I'm too tired at the end of the day. Well, okay, then it doesn't have to be the end of the day. Figure out a time where it can be the beginning of the day.
Well,
before you've done all that stuff.
And I agree. And I think some of them may have to think about reorganizing their life, because the way that you and I the society was that we grew up in, it is not that today. And because they've been progressively dealing with this stuff, and the kids don't have, by the time they're coming out of school, they don't have the same skills. They didn't have the same challenge, so they're ill-equipped. So a lot of the women, they, like the younger women, they cannot go and do the 9 to 5, take care of kids. They're just collapsing. And many of them, well, you know what? The stuff that you think you want, maybe you need to just give some of that up, work less, and if you can stay at home and just deal with your kids, then do that, and you'll be happier in the fact that you're not worn out all the time and not wanting to do anything and wanting to, like, then you're pumped up on the SRIs. You can get out in the sunshine, take kids, do stuff, and live a life. And find a way to make money. If you want to make some money, do something from home where you don't have to stress working for somebody else that's going to take you away and try to bend you over, right?
You raise a good point on the SSRIs too. 'Cause I've never been on a prescription med, but I've been reading recently that SSRIs like cause women to just completely lose interest in sex, which I didn't know.
I was actually reading something like that the other day. This woman was talking about how she lost all feeling in her genital, certain
I
parts
saw
of her
that.
genital. Yeah, and
She was on a panel.
I was like,
right?
you know what? Yeah, and I was like, you know what? Absolutely not. Not me, not today, Satan. I was like, I would rather be messed up in the head from like ADHD than be like messed up like reproductive wise. And she said, like what she said, I was like, people are becoming sterile and like numb, completely numb in their genitals from SSRI. I said, that I'm so glad my parents didn't put me on. I'm so glad my grandma was like completely like West Indian and so far on the other end of things where she was like drink water and pray like the whole time that I was like a kid. I'm glad I didn't even know that I was like ADHD or neurodivergent when I was a kid, because then they would never have the opportunity to do that to me. But like, I can only imagine how damaged the mind and the body is of the children who's been taking SSRI since they're like in elementary. Like, that's like, I think that's so evil, because like, how is she supposed to have a normal functioning relationship now? Like, that's just so sad.
Yeah, it really is. Have you ever seen the movie The Giver?
No.
Oh, you guys should see it. It's so good. And I feel like that's what we're inevitably headed for. So I won't say anything. It's kind of a dystopian future movie. It's based on a book, and it's a really good book too. But the movie's actually really good, and it's worth watching. And I really think that's what they medicate all the people so that they don't feel love or passion or anything. And they say that they've eliminated murder, but then I don't want to give it away, but it's really good.
But, yeah, because I had a doctor that tried putting me on that like years back, and I was like I took it and I was like, no. I said, I don't like what this is doing to me. I said, I'll go outside, I'll get exercise, which I was like, why didn't you tell me to do that first? But then you're like, oh, you should take that. And I said, no, I shouldn't, because I'm like, whatever that is worse than what I'm dealing with. And the side effects, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I said, no. So I said, get lost. And then I did it, got exercise, went to the gym and stuff like that. And I was perfectly fine. So a lot of these things that people do, and my ex-wife was also saying, oh, you should go do that. She took that stuff too. And I was like, no, I was not a person like to deal with that stuff for like getting SSRIs. I'm like, yeah, sometimes you feel like crap because of the situation. But when you fix the situation, guess what? It goes away. It's not like one day I woke up and the world's going to hate me. I'm like, a lot of things were going wrong. And I told them that. And I'm like, why would you do that if you knew that, and say, well, why don't you just address what's going on in your life? Right. And so after that, I was like, I'm not.
They act like you're not supposed to ever have anything difficult in your life. Oh, you're not supposed to be upset. You're not supposed to be anxious. Here's a med. It's like, well, no. Sometimes there's things that happen, and there's a perfectly legitimate reason for me to be anxious, and I just have to talk myself through it, deal with it, get, like you said, sunshine, exercise, eat right, get decent sleep, and work through it. Because all the chemicals you put in your body are just exacerbating all the problems.
Well, and it's like what they're doing now, and this is what actually we'll kind of talk about this, and we'll should talk about this later when we go in and talk about the PSYOPs, because in Canada they give you medical assistance in dying, right? They're assisted suicide. So they
5% now.
Yeah, so they break you down psychologically. They psyop you so that you're thinking all of these things that just don't make sense, and you're living with like severe cognitive dissonance your entire life. You don't have the skills to get through it, and then when you're having problems, you go to the doctor and like, oh yes, well we'll just kill you, right? This is the answer.
Yeah.
So they create all this stuff, and they're like, okay, now, well, our answer is we're just going to kill you, and people are taking this. And this has come to the States too. I think, what is it now? 14 states have the same thing. Do they have it in California?
I'm sure. I'm not involved in the medical, like I pay for insurance just because I have to. I don't even use it. The only time I used it when I had that concussion.
Yeah.
And that's basically it, because I mean, and most of my paycheck goes to healthy food and the few supplements I take. It goes to my health. And I don't know why insurance doesn't cover wellness instead of illness. Why can't, you know, a portion of my check go to my healthy food, my 100% grass-fed beef, but they don't want you to know what's good for you. That's the problem. They don't want to encourage that. Notice during COVID, nobody was saying, get outside, get more vitamin D, get some fresh air, take some zinc, make sure you have enough melatonin, lose some weight. No one was saying that. They were saying, put a muzzle on your face, stay inside where everybody gets sick, and watch your screen so that we can like pump you full of panic porn 24/7.
Well, it's because if women were predominantly staying home and men were the ones actually working, then you wouldn't need the insurance to cover those things, because the men would be making so much money that they would be able to do that. Actually, on my streamer earlier, last night, these two men came up and they were talking. They're like, it sounds terrible, but someone online made a joke saying that men used to make so much money they could have a secret family. And it's true. Men used to make so much money they could have 2 or 3 secret families. And it's like all on one paycheck, all on one job. And they had the house with the picket fence and the dog and the 2.5 kids. And, you know, so it's like, at this point, it's like if they really just bring back the opportunity for men to actually have work and money, we're not going to have this problem. People have the wellness and the prevention rather than the cure. They'll be healthier. They'll be able to go and do things. And they have to do that, because if they don't, the way that things are going, men are going to start uprising, because historically speaking, whenever men can't get women and they can't get money, anarchy happens. And this is what they're hoping, and this is what they're wanting. This is the direction it's going. It doesn't matter if AI will take over or not. It's not going to happen. AI will never replace humans, but it's the fact that they want to come and have these people do this so they can take an aggressive force of action. But that's still not going to work, because at the end of the day, we're going to lose our country and we can't afford to do that. So they have no choice but to fix this in a way where men actually have an ability, like sustainability opportunities, and that women have the ability to actually be with their children, because something has to go backward or else we're just going to completely collapse. Like, that's the direction we headed.
I think that's what they want. I don't think that people in power here care about saving the country. They look at, now that everyone's connected globally, they look at it as one big chessboard. And I think the people in power here, for the most part, are saying, yeah, I mean, look, they're pimping America out. They're importing all kinds of people, saying that we'll pay for them, you know, putting them over us. I think it's because they're like, yeah, well, we'll let the scavengers, you know, feast on the carcass of America, and then we'll get a big piece of the pie, the new thing, whatever new thing they're putting together. They have no interest in preserving America, because our system is at the consent of the governed, and they don't want that. They want an all-powerful government.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that term. There is a book called The Grand Chessboard by Brzezinski, a Polish fellow, that actually talked about same type of things that you were mentioning. Yeah. Yes, you should read it. It's called The Grand Chessboard.
It's a book?
Called by Brzezinski. Brzezinski's the Polish guy's name who wrote it. he was like a foreign, like, I mean, he was a foreign relations type of person that talked about, and he was connected to a lot of people. If you look, he was kind of connected to a lot of people in the way that how Harry Kissinger had his hands everywhere. This guy was the same kind of person like that, that was like, not saying he's exactly like Harry Kissinger, but he was connected to a lot of people. And he wrote a book called The Grand Chessboard on how these people were seeing this. And if you read things like that, you would see that they were planning this for a very long time and just taking the steps. And now that we have this situation, they're just looking for top-down control. Like, they want this, it's a system of slavery. There's no other way to put it, because they're taking away your property. They're taking control of your children. They don't want you to have any rights. Well, who in traditionally has no property, has no rights, and has somebody else dealing with their children? Those are slaves, right? And that's exactly what they want us to be. And in order to do that, yes, the objective is to get rid of the United States, because the United States, people are like, yeah, we're not going to do that, and their government's structured a different way. So something has to give here, because, I mean, we can't live like this. And I mean, the best thing that people can do is form families, because families are how you transmit morals and values. And the government, if you look at feminism, feminism is a psyop. The manosphere is a psyop. They're all psyop. And they're designed to stop people from having families. Like, you look at what the first video we watched with Clavicular and that woman. A woman like this, that is a destroyer of men. And I'll tell you right now, most men that you see that are gone off the rails, some woman has done something to destroy him, right? Whether a lot of it starts with the mother or women around them, like the adults, like going to school, they damaging the boys, and then they meet a girl that crushes her. Like, a woman like that goes to a man. We're not wired that way. And the one thing that can destroy men more than anything else is a woman. And that's what they know. That's why they like women like this.
I think men have a much harder time getting over heartbreak than women. Women are getting over it before they end it. By the time they end it, they've already been going through the process of getting over it. And men are usually just like completely sideswiped by it. And in my experience, man, it can take years, if ever, for like when it's the one they love, man, they just, because they, I don't know, they just.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like in my past situations, I feel like anybody that I've dealt with, like in the past, I don't think that they had any hard time like getting over it. Like, I feel like the men that even try to like come back years later, I don't know if like men do that to like mock you or something, or for the love of the game. But like, I don't know if like maybe your generation did that, and I know men say that they men say that, but I feel like a man could like get up and walk away and be like, it is what it is. Sucks to suck. Like, I think most men are actually like that with women these days, because I don't think anyone really has real connection, genuine connections with people like anymore. And I don't think they know how to, because our society is so warped. And I was talking about this on my stream with like some guys today and last night, and they said that they also have never had a genuine connection with a woman before. And, you know, some of them are in their 20s, some of them in their 30s. And I think that's the average person's experience now. So like, they walk away from most situations like, well, another one bites the dust. It is what it is. Maybe if they genuinely fell in love with someone, that would be true. But I mean, like, I just don't see that happening.
Well, I think it's a generational difference. It's a generational difference because for every experience I can think of where if I broke up with a guy and they just were devastated, and for one thing, it was all before social media. For another, you can tell because if they go years without getting a girlfriend again, that's one hint. It's like, I mean, I had a boyfriend from when I was 16 to 21, and to his dying day, he died like a few years ago, but he just never had a girlfriend after. He had girlfriends after. No, don't get me wrong. He never had one that he was happy with. Like, they didn't, and he stayed my friend. He was at my wedding, But and my boyfriend before the one I'm with now, man, he still can't talk to me. I've been broken up with him for 18 years. He can't talk to me because it hurts him, and he didn't see it coming.
Men are very different, and a lot of the men today will not say anything if they do. A man will, because I did this when I was young. A girl that I dated, I got up and I left. Was loving this woman off, but she did something to disrespect me, and I said, that is enough, and I just got up and I left. And it killed me to do it. I knew that it had to be done, but this woman, I love the woman, but what she was doing, I couldn't have that. So I still ended up having to deal with it in that kind of way, but I didn't sit there and at the time I just, did what I did, same plain face, while dying inside. Men are like that. So just because they don't show you something doesn't mean it's going on. Nothing's going on underneath. And that happens quite often.
But I think that.
But we can't relate to.
I think that. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we can't relate to your generation and what you're going through because it's completely social media generation. It's alien
because
to us.
I feel like if women knew that about men, like more men would not lose those women. Like, I feel like so many men take this nonchalant attitude about relationships, and that's why they lose women. Because the woman's like, you don't need me. You don't love me. You don't reaffirm to me. It doesn't make sense to me that you love me. You're trying to play the cool guy here. And then when I walk away, you're going to act like you miss me or that you love me. Or no, even worse, they're going to be like, well, life goes on. Well, God forbid life go on. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, you have to live and breathe another day. But I mean, like, that means I never meant anything to you if life goes on. Because for me, if it's the love of my life, the sun will rise and set again, but it will never rise and set the same. It will never rise and set like that. How you were describing the one guy, how he just was never satisfied. That's how I am, because I've been eating the same meal from McDonald's since I was 5. If I like something, I like it. I'm not changing it. I stick with it. You know what I mean? So it's like, once I've made my decision, it's done. There is no other decision. Why do I want anything else? You're the standard now. And after that, every single thing is going to be disgusting to me. So it's like, if I don't have, I think a lot of women are like, they want that man to show that yearning to them, like, and trust them with that yearning, and maybe more men wouldn't be in the position where they would even be sad and alone for the rest of their life, because you show the woman, like, I do love you with like my whole heart or whatever. I want to be with you, and it would break me to pieces if you were gone, even if I had to continue, but it would destroy me on the inside. I feel like men just don't trust women with that information these days because the internet and the way everything is. And that is terrible, because it's like, you have to take a risk. There's no reward. There's no exceptional reward without risk. Only regret, a lifetime of regret. And you're going to be haunted for the rest of your life if you have that. And like you said, those men are haunted. Like, they could not move on from you. And that's a terrible place to be.
And what you're describing has been the case at least my entire life. As far as, like, every single time I've broken up with a guy, I've thought they didn't care that much because I didn't see it when we were together.
That is the only reason a woman leaves you, is because she thinks you don't care.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you're like, wait, what? Your heart, wait, what? Where was this when I was still,
And then it's like, how dare you? How dare you tell me this now? Not when you had me. How dare you? Yeah.
Yeah. They just want to, they get feeling safe, and then they don't, because men from birth, boys, they wall their emotions off. They don't, but you guys, just so you know, I have kind of like probably 10 minutes left tops because I have to cook dinner.
Yeah, we'll wrap up here right away. The thing is with men is this: men don't talk as much. They do. And they expect you to know by what they do. And then women get used to the things that the man does, and it comes into like a routine type of thing. But a man is doing these things and being consistent because he likes you. Because if he doesn't, he's just going to be like gone. Because men that don't like women, they'll know very quickly in the way that they do. But they have to sort of meet each other kind of in the middle. The man has to understand that the woman needs to be talked to, and the woman has to understand that the man isn't going to talk as much as she'd like, because if he does, then you should probably run, because if he's doing everything you want, it's probably for a bad reason, because nobody does that. Everybody's going to do something you don't like. And if they're doing it, hitting the stuff you like all the time, they're probably trying to do the wrong thing. So that's really kind of what it is. And when guys are nonchalant, it's because somebody's burnt them before and they're afraid. That's why they're that way, because they're afraid of taking risks. And it's more in this younger generation that they've destroyed them so that they are too afraid to take risks. But at the end of the day, if the men don't take the risk, the women certainly aren't going to do it. It's just the way it is. The men have to be the ones to lead in that area.
Yeah. I'm so glad I'm not a guy. I've thought that since I was little. I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not the one that has to go up and face rejection.
Yeah.
That'd be brutal.
You gonna say something? Okay. Well, I mean, since we're at this point, we can wrap it up, because I know you got to go and get your dinner started and so forth. So what do you want to say to people before we close it down? Get your thoughts.
Go touch grass. Learn how to interact with people not on social media, and don't look at everybody as your enemy. The opposite sex is definitely not your enemy. And learn how to get to know people in real life. Get off your screen.
Yes, that's very good advice, especially in the summertime.
I'm an introvert who never does that.
Get off the screen, get outside, right?
Yes.
Outside is good. All right. Yes. I will close here with a prayer and give, in case you have your final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up here. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy, and we thank you for all the things that you've done for us, and help people that they would open their eyes to see all of this manipulation that's going on to destroy the relations between men and women, and that we can come together to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation, and to protect our children from all of this evil that is coming up in the world. Is my prayer.
Amen.
Amen. All right. You guys heard the people. Thanks, Nikki, for, well, this is actually Nikki's show. What am I saying? I should thank myself for joining.
Oh no.
Anyways, guys.
I'm still getting until I can't even get the technology right.
No, man. It's always a great conversation with Nikki, man. She's real cool. She's out on the West Coast, and like I tell you guys all the time, I met Nikki when I was down there in the US, thugging it out. But follow the page, share it with other people, because we're trying to get her some more support on this channel, and she does have like a very good perspective on things, especially from we need every generation of generational understanding of different perspectives to come together and kind of build some solutions and things like that going forward. All of that connectivity and unity in that sense is very important. So yeah, definitely share this with someone that or 10 people that or whatever. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.